Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist, and I'm also a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to talk about people realizing that you actually are smart and you do have boundaries and you're not weak. People mistaken kindness for weakness or ignorance without realizing you have a limit to your kindness. And then when you set that limit and you're at that limit, they get shocked. You are kind until you're not. You're strategic with your life, including the people that you let in. This is not for everybody. This is not a one-size-fits-all. It won't fit everybody. But if it does fit you, I want you to understand you're not alone, because a lot of the other men watching this video relate to you as well. Okay? The first one to perhaps realize you do fit this category is people assume they can take advantage of you. And then when they realize they can't, they get mad at you. When they realize they can't push your boundaries. And this is very interesting. They're mad at you because of the entitlement that they believe they could get something out of you. I don't think people understand this, okay? People who get taken advantage of, they think it's because they have nothing to offer and they're just weak. That's not the case. People take advantage of something that they want to get out of, but they assume that they can get it out of you because you have what they want, and they think they can manipulate you. When they find out they can't, they get really mad. People like this, they don't want to do the work for themselves. They're not smart or strategic, not in this way, right? I'm not calling them dumb. That's not what I meant. I mean that they're not strategic and they don't see themselves that way. What they're seeing is that you have something to offer and they want to get that from you. They want to take advantage of you. Let's just say a work scenario. And I'm sorry the lighting changed. It just got really foggy all of a sudden. But a work scenario. You're doing a project and they're saying, hey, can you help me with my project? And they see your project is doing really well. And they're saying, can you help me a little bit, so they can kind of shove that on you and then take credit. And you're like, no, I'm busy. I have my project to work on. They get really mad and they say, wow, that's kind of selfish. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm just asking for a little bit of help. I don't know how to do this. And I know you're the only person on the team who can do this. And you can say, yeah, I get that, but the project was assigned to you. I can help if I have time, but I don't. I have my project to submit and it's due soon. Whatever you can get done, do it. Otherwise, go to the boss. I have to do this. Whatever that scenario is, they really thought they could take advantage of you. The reality is they probably do this with a lot of people, and a lot of people say no, or maybe a lot of people do give them what they want. And so they were kind of shocked that you wouldn't. This is important because they do realize that you have something very valuable. The next one is that people assume you won't get the job done properly and are shocked when you do it well. Okay, so this is kind of different from the first scenario, but you'll see both happening, just not at the same time. They assume that maybe they give you a really not so good deal or project. Maybe because they think you're young, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's unexperienced or inexperienced, they give you a not so good project. They don't expect much out of it. And then you show up and it's really good. And they're actually shocked at how well you've done it. Sometimes they even might diminish it and say, oh yeah, we worked on that together. The boss will take credit, right? They're not comfortable with how well you did. But what you'll see is now a lot of eyes are on you. And what starts happening is a lot of people start asking you for help, start trying to copy some of the things you do. And a lot of times people will, if they care about you, like if it's a woman, she might actually start being more impressed by you. And in such a way where maybe she's giving you actual signals of attraction because she's pretty shocked. But the reality is it's originally maybe she didn't assume that much of you. It's just something to keep in mind. The next one is, this is relationship correlated. Your ex thought that she could get better, but then realized she couldn't. And so she keeps reaching out. Okay, so there is something to be said about people who actually change. Like maybe she broke up with you and she didn't date anyone else and she was just, I don't know, maybe she lost a family member. So she's been stuck with certain things and then she comes back. That's kind of different. I'm talking about when she left you for another man and then she realized he wasn't that great and now she's coming back to you and wanting a chance with you. It's up to you to decide what you want. But she thought that maybe you would stick around, or she thought she could manipulate her way into that relationship again, or she realized how good you were. And usually it's a combination of all of those things. Maybe she realized it now, but there are definitely some women out there who will realize it right away and do what they can to keep that relationship. So it's up to you to decide what you want to do. The next one is an interesting one. A lot of people don't realize people who do this, are men who do this, are really smart and well-versed because they do something like this. Men who are well-versed do not always show up as the most well-versed person. They don't need to prove anything. Often, they don't speak much about topics they're not well-versed in. Even if they might be a little well-versed, they're still not comfortable always showing up as the most well-versed person because they like to learn from other people. It's easier to learn when you're listening, not when you're the one always talking, depending on the scenario. In, like, let's say a work setting, right? It's different if it's like a conference and you're the one speaking. But if it's a setting where there's just a group of coworkers, colleagues, and they're all sharing their 2 cents, you can share a little bit, but you're always listening for what else you can learn because that's how you operate. You want to learn more. You're not worried about what other people think about you. You're worried about how you can elevate yourself because you value yourself, okay? And so a lot of men who are pretty smart, they do this. The next one is that you don't often brag. It makes you uncomfortable, usually, but it's not because you have low self-worth. It's because you rather remain humble. That doesn't mean you don't say what it is that you achieve. It's not like you downplay it, but you just don't offer it up to anyone, even if they don't ask. If someone asks, you'll say, yeah, I did win that award. Or yeah, it is true that I'm doing really well for myself. Or yeah, I did graduate early. Or yes, I was in a gifted program when I was younger. You're not hiding it because it's just part of your life. It's not really a good or bad thing. You see it as neutral because it's who you are. Okay. And the last one is you're actually grateful for opportunities you have and you try to make the most out of this. People do not like people who do this for some reason. And actually, there is a reason. It's not some reason. The reason is because, one, some people are a little jealous of the opportunities you have. But another thing is, being grateful for the opportunities shows a different level of elevation. Everyone has some opportunities here and there, or most people do. But the person who shows up on top is not the one who is ungrateful for all their opportunities and they just throw them all away. It's usually the one who tries their best with what they have. And again, there are people who don't have much opportunity, so this might not fit everyone, but it is definitely something that I have noticed among those who are very smart and people realize, oh, this guy is really intelligent. This guy really stands out. He tries to make the most out of it. He shows up. He's positive. He understands that not everyone's perfect, and he gives it his best. He might be the intern at a company, but he will show up dressed pretty well, trying to learn from all of the other people, and he wants to rise in that company or start his own company. He's not just messing around and just trying to get through college or trying to get to another job. No, he's serious about this because he wants to make the most out of this.
One of the biggest signs that people are beginning to realize you're very smart is that your actions consistently speak louder than your words. Truly intelligent people rarely feel the need to announce how much they know. Instead, they demonstrate their understanding through the choices they make, the way they handle challenges, and the results they create over time. Many people associate intelligence with talking a lot or showing off knowledge, but real intelligence is often quiet. It appears in the ability to remain calm during difficult situations, make thoughtful decisions under pressure, and solve problems without creating unnecessary drama. While others may react emotionally, a smart person tends to observe, analyze, and respond with purpose. At first, people may overlook this kind of intelligence because it doesn't demand attention. However, as time passes, they start noticing patterns. They see that your advice often turns out to be correct. They notice that you avoid mistakes that others repeatedly make. They observe how you navigate situations with wisdom and foresight. Gradually, respect begins to grow. Your intelligence also becomes visible through consistency. Anyone can make a good decision once, but consistently making wise choices is what sets intelligent people apart. When others see that you repeatedly handle situations effectively, they begin to trust your judgment. They may start asking for your opinion, seeking your guidance, or paying closer attention to what you say. Another reason people recognize intelligence through actions is that results are difficult to ignore. While words can create impressions, results create evidence. If your decisions lead to growth, success, stronger relationships, or better outcomes, people naturally become curious about how you think. They begin to realize that your perspective carries value. Perhaps most importantly, intelligent actions are often rooted in self-control. Knowing when to speak, when to listen, when to act, and when to wait requires a level of wisdom that many people underestimate. As others witness your patience, discipline, and thoughtful behavior, they start understanding that there is more depth to you than they originally realized. In the end, the smartest people are often recognized not because they tell the world how intelligent they are, but because their actions quietly reveal it. Over time, consistent wisdom becomes impossible to hide, and people naturally begin to see the intelligence that has been there all along. One reason people are beginning to realize that you're very smart is because you notice things that others often overlook. Intelligence is not simply about having information or getting good grades. True intelligence involves awareness, observation, and the ability to understand deeper meanings behind situations, behaviors, and events. Many people only focus on what is directly in front of them. They react to circumstances without taking the time to analyze what is really happening. Smart individuals, however, tend to look beyond the surface. They pay attention to details, patterns, and connections that others may ignore. This ability allows them to gain insights that are not immediately obvious. For example, you may notice changes in someone's behavior before anyone else does. You might recognize when a friend is struggling emotionally, even when they say they are fine. You may see the hidden motives behind people's actions, or predict how a situation will unfold based on previous experiences. These observations are not lucky guesses, they come from careful attention and thoughtful analysis. Another sign of intelligence is the ability to recognize patterns. Life often repeats similar lessons in different forms. While some people see isolated events, intelligent people see connections between them. They learn from past experiences and use that knowledge to make better decisions in the future. Because of this, they can often anticipate challenges before they arise and prepare accordingly. People may not immediately understand how you arrive at your conclusions. In fact, some might even doubt your perspective at first. However, when your observations repeatedly prove accurate, they begin to take notice. They realize that you often see things long before they become obvious to everyone else. This deeper awareness also helps you avoid unnecessary mistakes. By paying attention to details and understanding underlying dynamics, you can identify potential problems before they grow larger. While others may act impulsively, you tend to think several steps ahead. This ability often leads to wiser decisions and more successful outcomes. Intelligence also involves understanding people. You may pick up on emotions, body language, tone of voice, or subtle shifts in energy that others miss. This emotional awareness allows you to navigate relationships more effectively and respond with greater empathy and wisdom. Over time, people start recognizing that your insights are different. They notice that your observations often carry depth, accuracy, and meaning. What once seemed like simple intuition begins to look like something much more valuable. A sharp and intelligent mind that sees beyond appearances. In the end, one of the clearest signs of intelligence is not how much you know, but how much you notice. When you consistently see what others miss, people naturally begin to realize that your perspective is unique, thoughtful, and remarkably intelligent. Another reason people are beginning to realize that you're very smart is because your personal growth has become impossible to ignore. Intelligence is not just about what you know today, it's also about your willingness to learn, adapt, and improve over time. When people witness your growth, they often begin to recognize the intelligence that helped create that transformation. There was likely a time when others underestimated you. They may have only seen a small part of your potential, or they may have judged you based on where you were rather than where you were headed. Many intelligent people go unnoticed in the early stages of their journey because they are quietly learning, observing, and developing their skills behind the scenes. What makes intelligent individuals different is their commitment to growth. Instead of remaining stuck in old habits or limiting beliefs, they constantly seek new knowledge and experiences. They learn from mistakes rather than being defeated by them. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to gain wisdom, and every setback becomes a lesson that strengthens them. Over time, this process creates noticeable change. Your conversations become more thoughtful. Your decisions become more intentional. Your confidence grows because it is built on experience and understanding rather than ego. People begin to notice that you handle situations differently than you once did. They see greater maturity, emotional control, and clarity in the way you think and act. One of the most powerful signs of growth is the ability to change your perspective. Intelligent people are not afraid to admit when they are wrong or to update their beliefs when presented with new information. This flexibility shows strength, not weakness. It demonstrates a mind that values truth and learning more than pride. As your growth becomes visible, people often start treating you differently. They may seek your advice, respect your opinions, or become curious about how you've developed such a balanced way of thinking. Some may even feel surprised by how much you've changed. What they are really noticing is the accumulation of countless lessons, experiences, and moments of self-reflection that have shaped who you are today. Your growth also inspires others. When people see someone who has continuously improved themselves, they recognize qualities such as discipline, resilience, and wisdom. These qualities are closely connected to intelligence because they require self-awareness and a commitment to becoming better. Perhaps the most important thing is that true growth is difficult to fake. It reveals itself naturally through your behavior, choices, and mindset. People can sense when someone has genuinely evolved. They notice the calm confidence, the deeper understanding, and the ability to handle life with greater wisdom. In the end, people are realizing you're very smart because they can see the evidence of your growth. The person you are today reflects years of learning, adapting, and improving. Your transformation tells a story that words alone never could, and that story quietly reveals the intelligence that has been developing within you all along. One of the clearest signs that people are realizing you're very smart is that your intelligence doesn't just benefit you, it benefits the people around you. True intelligence is not about proving that you're smarter than everyone else. It's about using your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to help others grow, solve problems, and see new possibilities. Many people think intelligence is about having all the answers. In reality, some of the smartest individuals are those who know how to bring out the best in others. Instead of making people feel small, they make people feel capable. They don't use knowledge as a weapon, they use it as a tool for encouragement, guidance, and positive change. When someone is genuinely intelligent, they understand that every person has value. Rather than seeking attention or recognition, they focus on creating meaningful conversations and offering helpful insights. They listen carefully, ask thoughtful questions, and help others think more clearly. This approach earns respect because people feel understood rather than judged. One reason people begin to recognize your intelligence is that your advice often helps them navigate difficult situations. You may offer a perspective they hadn't considered or point out a solution they couldn't see on their own. Over time, people notice that talking with you leaves them feeling more confident, informed, and motivated. That impact is a powerful sign of intelligence. Another important quality of smart people is their ability to simplify complex ideas. Anyone can make something sound complicated, but it takes real understanding to explain difficult concepts in a way that others can easily grasp. When people consistently learn something valuable from you, they start appreciating the depth of your knowledge and the clarity of your thinking. Intelligent people also recognize that success is not a competition. They understand that helping others succeed does not diminish their own achievements. Because of this mindset, they are often generous with their knowledge and experience. They share lessons they've learned, offer encouragement during difficult times, and celebrate the progress of those around them. As a result, people naturally gravitate toward them. Friends, coworkers, and even strangers may seek their advice because they trust their judgment. This trust isn't built overnight. It develops through repeated experiences where your wisdom, fairness, and insight prove valuable. Perhaps the most impressive aspect of empowering others is that it requires emotional intelligence as well as intellectual intelligence. Understanding people's needs, recognizing their strengths, and communicating in a supportive way are skills that demonstrate a well-rounded and mature mind. In the end, people are realizing you're very smart because they don't just see intelligence in what you know, they see it in the positive effect you have on others. Your ability to inspire, guide, and uplift those around you reveals a deeper form of intelligence, one that goes beyond facts and knowledge. It shows wisdom, compassion, and leadership, and when people experience those qualities firsthand, they naturally come to recognize the true depth of your intelligence.